Hello everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 to Stay Alive. This time it's for May 2022. Well, are you ready for spring? I know I certainly am. Oh boy, I'm going to watch my grandson's games right now. It's either freezing or it's pouring rain. Can't wait for the sun to come out. Of course, we live in Chicago. You people in Arizona and Florida don't have the same problem. You have spring all year round. Anyways, let's begin. Diving right in to Top 5, let's start with topic number 1. Did you ever hear of Singular? It's the blockbuster allergy and asthma medicine from Merck Pharmaceutical that was once advertised on TV for adults and children with the promise that side effects are generally mild. All you had to worry about were things like a headache or a runny nose. But that turned out to be so far from the truth that someone at Merck should be held responsible for putting out a drug that, among other things, can cause suicide in children. Now, Dutch researchers have discovered that reports of those adverse reactions have skyrocketed, and that makes sense as the drug is now available as a generic, meaning more people than ever before are taking it. That's why it's urgent that you make sure someone you love isn't putting their life in danger with this medicine, especially if that someone is a child. I would not have given my son a drug that causes depression for a simple allergy, would you? Cody Miller's mom, Kate, had no way of knowing that a small fruit-flavored pill given to help her son with his allergies would cause the 15-year-old high school athlete to take his own life. And it took a full 2 years after Cody's death for the FDA to limp into action and require Merck to put a warning on Singular about neuropsychiatric events that can include suicide. Singular was a big moneymaker for Merck with sales in the billions of dollars, but now that it's available as a generic, it looks like the drug maker has changed the story about the potential side effects. Sure, made all its money, now it'll come out. In a retort to the latest look at adverse events linked to Singular by researchers at the University Medical Center in the Netherlands, Merck's response was, yeah, the drug may cause some serious side effects, so talk to your healthcare provider about it. Wow, that's a lot different than those soothing claims over the past years. What the Dutch researchers found confirmed those neuropsychiatric side effects. They also checked two different databases to see how many times these frightening adverse reactions have been reported, and what they discovered was absolutely shocking. In records maintained by the World Health Organization for over 100 countries, they found close to 18,000 reports that included depression, aggression, agitation, insomnia, suicide thoughts and behavior, and tremors in both kids and adults taking the drug. They calculated that risk of depression in children and adults taking Singular were nearly 7 times higher, and the odds of child exhibiting aggressive behavior were a whopping 30 times greater. And remember, reports of adverse events, whether they go to WHO or FDA, actually only represent a fraction, some say 10%, of actually what's happening. What these researchers found is no doubt merely the tip of the Singular side effect iceberg, and for the millions who are prescribed this drug, it's extremely unlikely that they're getting the full story about its dangers. That's something Kate Miller was hoping would change. 2 members of New York's congressional delegation have backed a bill, one named for Cody, that would tell patients about these risks in a big, bold, plain language. But it never saw the light of day. And if your child or grandchild have been prescribed Singular for asthma, there's something else you need to know. During the early clinical trials before the FDA approved it, many patients are reported to have dropped out due to worsening breathing problems. The message is loud and clear. We are on our own when it comes to knowing about the dangers of drugs. Don't depend upon our FDA. And it's also very clear that Singular is one of those drugs that's just too dangerous to take. Oh my goodness. Topic number 2. Friend, anxiety is incredibly widespread, especially now among Americans around the world. If you truly suffer from it, it's a serious business. But it turns out that among some doctors, anxiety might simply be a scapegoat for certain symptoms, like when your heart is racing, your chest is tightening, you're breathing out into a cold sweat and you're in pain. Sure, that could seem like a panic attack, but that anxiety diagnosis might be missing the mark in terms of what's really going on. If you tried to talking to your doctor but you felt dismissed, you're not alone. Too many Americans are getting prescribed mood medicines when what they really have going on is something entirely different. The scary truth is too many doctors have been overlooking the true cause of those symptoms, heart problems. If you're old enough to remember when patients were told, it's all in your head, then you could recognize how similar it is when a doctor diagnoses you with a mood disorder like anxiety. It's as though they're telling you, I don't believe you. Here's something to calm you down. It happens to women more than men, but it could happen to anyone, especially if you happen to mention you've been under stress. Like, who hasn't been? Chances are you're not complaining about nothing, and the longer it takes to discover that it could be a heart attack, stroke, or some other cardiovascular issue, the more serious your condition could become. Because when it comes to your heart, time is of the essence. That means getting accurately diagnosed right away and getting the treatment you need without delay. If that doesn't happen, it could sabotage your recovery, or even land you in an early grave. Maybe that's one of the reasons why every year more American women die of heart disease than men. Bet you didn't know that. If you're experiencing symptoms that are troubling you, even something that could seem unrelated like acid reflux, and doctor is telling you that you need to relax, don't hesitate to get a second opinion, of course. Not every anxiety diagnosis is wrong, and anxiety doesn't always point to an underlying heart issue, but it's better to get your heart health checked out before it's too late. Better be safe than sorry. Now, just because a heart doctor checks you out doesn't mean he'll necessarily recognize your cardiac symptoms, because a heart attack in a woman doesn't look exactly the same as a heart attack in a man. If you have any family history of heart disease, or quite frankly, if you don't, insist on diagnostic screening like a cardiac stress test, coronary artery calcium scan, and so on. And if it turns out to be just anxiety, seek out natural alternatives, prescription pills like Kava Kava or 5-HTP. Topic number 3. I get calls on this all the time. When your thyroid isn't firing on all cylinders, it can feel like life is moving in slow motion, and you get up and go, got up and went. Your muscles are weak, your joints are stiff. You barely got the energy to get up in the morning, much less go anywhere. The day drags on, and you can't wait to get back to bed. Even your poop might become sluggish. Friends, that's no way to live. Unfortunately, synthetic thyroid hormone replacement therapy, like, Synthroid, isn't an ideal solution for everyone, and it can be tough to get the dosage exactly right. The good news is it's not your only option. Here's something else to consider. Black seed comes from Nigella sativa plant, which belongs to the buttercup family. Also known as black caraway or black cumin, it's the well-known spice that's a member of the parsley family. The origins of black seed go back as far as 2000 BC in ancient Egypt and Turkey. Some of the seeds were even discovered in King Tut's tomb. For ages, the ancient medicinal practice of Ayurveda has called for black seed to be used for support of respiratory health. And in Middle Eastern countries like Morocco and Jordan, it's still treasured today for its ability to erase diabetes. Modern research has backed the science behind many of the black seed's traditional uses, confirming that it could also help end arthritis pain and kill cancer cells. But today I want to share with you what black seed could do for low thyroid, specifically the autoimmune condition known as Hashimoto's thyroiditis. A hallmark of Hashimoto's is excessive and chronic inflammation of the thyroid gland. But fortunately, black seed contains a potent anti-inflammatory substance called thymoquinone. That's the same compound that can offer antihistamine, anti-diabetic, and anti-cancer activity. In 2016 study of Iran, patients with Hashimoto's who supplemented with black seed saw their blood markers of thyroid health improve. That's not all. Because the study subjects also showed decreased levels of thyroid peroxidase, known as TPO, antibodies which destroy thyroid cells. Over the course of an 8-week study, levels of thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, were also reined in. Now, your body needs some TSH, which is secreted by your pituitary gland. TSH stimulates the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormones, but TSH levels that are very high are often a sign of an underactive thyroid. In that case, the pituitary gland keeps cranking out the TSH despite the fact that the thyroid gland isn't responding to it. When that happens, creating more TSH won't help, but the pituitary gland doesn't know that. In that same study I just mentioned, black seed also helped balance thyroid function by increasing levels of thyroid hormone T3. When T3 levels are more in line, it makes sense that TSH levels would also go down. Study participants consumed 2 grams of black seed powder daily over a course of 2 months. But note that black seed extract powder is more powerful than powdered whole seed and may be standardized to contain a certain amount of the minimum percentage required of TQ. So check your doctor on what a good starting dosage might be. You can look for organic cold-pressed black seed oil. Just make sure it's 100% pure and therapeutic grade. You can consume it in a liquid form, although folks won't care for the taste, so choosing a capsule is just as good. Black seed oil supplements are available from such quality makers as Gaia, Puritan's Pride, Piping Rock, and Solare. Topic number 4. If there's one thing that completely baffles mainstream medicine, it's autoimmune disease. I'm talking about rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, thyroid issues, psoriasis, fibromyalgia, lupus, MS, and more. It's a complete mystery why someone's immune system might turn against them and attack otherwise healthy tissue. But the more researchers look into it, the more it seems like some of the toughest conditions out there may arise from this short-circuiting of immune function. Too often, all conventional doctor can do is try to treat the symptoms and make the patient more comfortable. But that won't stop the progression of the disease or save lives from being lost. In integrative medicine, the focus is on addressing the hidden culprits, which in the case of autoimmune conditions means immunity gone haywire. And that could offer hope in stopping autoimmune disease in its track. In a new study out of Harvard University published earlier this year, researchers looked for a way to improve older folks' odds when it comes to autoimmune disease and actually help them dodge a diagnosis of one of these conditions. Over 25,000 Americans over the age of 50 were enrolled as a study participant, and their health was tracked over the course of more than 5 years. That's a pretty good study. Turns out a simple, easy, and cheap intervention reduced the risk of autoimmune disease by 20%. You know what it was? Drum roll. Vitamin D. A significantly fewer number of study subjects who supplement with just 2,000 IUs daily were diagnosed with autoimmune disease during the study duration compared to the placebo. And those results were even more pronounced after the first 2 years of the study, which tells me that the vitamin D needs a little time to accumulate in the system and get to work. Now, the researchers don't know exactly how vitamin D works, but the theory is that it's some combination of anti-inflammatory effects and its influence on both the immune function and gene regulation. They tried combining vitamin D with 1,000 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids, which are known for their ability also to banish inflammation and enhance immunity. But the results weren't significantly better. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't combine vitamin D with fish oil, making sure it contains plenty of EPA and DHA. Those omega-3s carry their own immune benefits, especially when it comes to fighting off infection. And if you do have autoimmune disease, you'll want to make sure that your immune response isn't distracted and can actually help defend you. CardioForLIfe contains 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 and 500 milligrams of omega-3 per serving. If you're like me, I'm doing 2 servings twice a day. So I'm getting 20,000 IUs of vitamin D3 and 2,000 milligrams of omega-3. And that's why I look as good as I do. All right. Saving the worst for last. This one is a killer. Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois, my wonderful senator, is pushing supplement regulation threatening 41,000 supplements and is moving forward on multiple fronts. He's been doing this for years. We must respond immediately. For months now, we've been telling you about Senator Durbin's plan to impose new requirements on supplements. These new requirements threaten more than 41,000 products on the market. If we want to preserve access to the supplements we rely on to stay healthy, we must contact our elected representatives immediately and tell them not to support this stupid policy. Here's what we know. Senator Mike Braun, Republican from Indiana, has agreed to join Senator Durbin in introducing a bill to require mandatory product registration for supplements. This recently, Senator Durbin gave a speech introducing the bill on the Senate floor. But that's not all. Separately, Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington State, chair of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee is independently moving forward with plans to attach mandatory product registration for supplements to the reauthorization of the Prescription Drug User Fee Act that must pass by the end of September. This is a common tactic in Congress to enact policies that could not pass on their own, simply sneak them in because nobody ever reads the bill, the policy, into must-pass legislation and hope no one is paying attention. As we mentioned previously, powerful forces on multiple fronts are converging to get this policy across the finish line. With Senator Braun, it is now has bipartisan support. Senator Murray and her committee supports it. Guess what? President Biden supports it when he's awake, supports it, and we know that the FDA wants it. Only with a powerful grassroots response can we hope to stop this terrible policy in its tracks. I previously have covered details about everything that is wrong with mandatory product registration for supplements, like forcing products like CardioForLIfe to provide clinical studies proving effectiveness and safety, which can cost millions of dollars that I don't have. The problem is that many of your elected officials in Congress still think this proposal is completely harmless. Oh, it sounds wonderful. Even though we know the bottom line is that if it gets approved, more than 41,000 supplements, including CardioForLife, Cleanse, and so many more, could be removed from the market. Why are more supplement regulations such a priority for these federal authorities? Supplements are overwhelmingly safe. According to the FDA, in 2021, the agency received, get this, 2,400 adverse event reports related to dietary supplements. Ooh, that's terrible. To put this in context, according to the FDA's adverse event database, in 2021, the FDA received 2,333,453 adverse effects concerning prescribed medicine. That means the dietary supplement makes up 0.1% of the adverse events reported to the FDA. National reports consistently show 0 deaths from supplements, according to the FDA's own database. In 2021 alone, prescribed drugs, that is, killed 187,750 Americans. That supplements are the products getting federal attention speaks to the power of the drug industry lobby and the willingness of elected officials who take their money and FDA officials who take their money to do their bidding. Your House and Senate members need to hear from you. Their constituents that this proposal is an enormous waste of taxpayer dollars that you don't want. We need to flood their inboxes with this message to be sure they hear it. Please share this action alert with others who care about natural health and access to supplements, and ask them also to reach out to Congress and then tell them to oppose this policy. Supporters of this proposal are working quickly behind the scenes, so there's no time to lose. Write to Congress, tell them to oppose mandatory filing for supplements. Please send your message. Please also forward this alert to 3 friends and ask them to act. We need all hands on deck to defeat Tricky Dick Durbin. All right, let's move on to testimonials. Dr. Harry, CardioForLife is my go-to for keeping my heart strong and my blood pressure normal, having experienced broken heart syndrome after death of my husband. I knew I had to be on top of my choices of food and supplements to strengthen my cardiovascular system. As an herbalist and nutritionist, I have always taken many good herbs and nutritional supplements, but when I was introduced to CardioForLIfe, it changed my life. My heart rate and blood pressure are lower now than many people decades younger than me. My blood pressure was 167 over 102 on average. Today, since taking CardioForLIfe, it's 119 over 65. Not bad for an active great-grandmother. Wow. I recommend it to everyone who has a heart. I never want to be without it. Thank you, Doctor, for your wonderful formulas. Thank you for that, Jeanette. Number 2, if anyone wishes to simply help themselves and their families with research-backed science and Nobel laureate discoveries when it comes to the best health-related nutrients, supplements, this is one of the best sites I've ever come across, the Health Guardian. The products are not only personally formulated by Dr. Elwardt, but he personally is a consumer of his own products. He provides everyone with detailed information and free education on how we can prevent many of the chronic diseases that we think may not be preventable, or that just because we are aging that these diseases are inevitable. This is not true. We can protect ourselves and we can become our own health advocates. Thank you, Dr. Elwardt, for providing us with all your great research and incredible free website store we can all trust. Thanks, Ernie. Number 3, I've been using this product for well over a year and love it. Not just the comfort of knowing it's cleaning out my arteries, but I actually feel more energetic. Also, I'm blown away by Dr. He makes himself available to answer questions. Of course I do, Lori. Number 4, the chocolate Slim Shake tastes amazing and decreases my appetite as well as the trim capsules. Very pleased with the progress with these products. I would highly recommend them. Well, thank you, Cheryl. And finally, I'm so impressed with Dr. Harry and John. That's my son. They have helped me so much in understanding what a supplement I need for my health concerns. They also are quick to respond to my messages. I feel blessed to have found them. Well, we're blessed to have you, Catherine. And that wraps up our top 5 to stay alive for May. Enjoy your spring. Summer's right around the corner. And until next time, this is Dr. Harry saying God bless you all. Good night.